Welcome everybody to our Veolia Water Tech Talk today on ensuring business continuity with reliable mobile water solutions. I can see that we are still in the process, or a few people are in the process of logging on. So we're going to go ahead and give it probably about one more minute or so, and then we will get started with our presentation today. So thanks for your patience, and we will get started shortly. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. My name is Jill Browning and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar, Ensuring Business Continuity with Reliable Mobile Water Solutions. Before we get into our presentation today, I do just have a couple quick housekeeping slides to go over. First of all, hopefully you should be able to hear me speak at the moment. But I do want to mention that should you have any audio difficulties throughout today's presentation, there are two different ways to connect to the audio. You can either use your computer or through your phone line. So feel free, if any audio issues do pop up, to switch between the two. And then also, due to the large number of attendees that we have on today's presentation, we have gone ahead and muted everyone's lines. But no worries on that. You can still interact with our speaker. And in terms of interacting with today's speaker, you can ask your questions via the questions panel anytime throughout today's webinar. And then at the end of the presentation, we do have some time set aside for questions for our speaker to answer them. So feel free to ask any questions that may come to mind, and we will try to get through as many of those questions at the end of the presentation as time allows. Today's webinar is also one of many in our upcoming Veolia Water Tech Talks program that is happening throughout this year. If you're interested in signing up for additional webinars, please feel free to check out our schedule over at www.veoliawatertech.com to check that out and to register. And additionally, we have made available our collection of on-demand webinars that we've conducted over the last couple years. You can access more than 40 on-demand webinars, again, over at that www.veoliawatertech.com. So feel free to go over to the website, browse through the various topics that are available, and register for any of those that may be of interest to you. One other housekeeping note that we have here is a PDF participation certificate will be made available to you at the end of the webinar. You should receive that certificate within 24 hours or so of the conclusion of today's webinar, so keep an eye out for that if that is something of interest for you. And then also at the end of today's webinar, you will receive a quick survey requesting your feedback. It shouldn't take more than 20 or 30 seconds of your time. And for those of you that do complete that survey, you will be entered into a drawing for a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So if you would be so kind to fill that out for us, we would greatly appreciate that, and we do highly value your feedback. Now, before we hop into the main part of our presentation today, if you are not familiar with Veolia Water Technologies, we are a leading water and wastewater technology provider, and we offer our clients a variety of technologies, services, and project options. And we also support our clients in a variety of different markets, through industrial markets, municipal markets, and so forth, to help support their water and wastewater needs. So feel free to check us out over on our website for more information, and with any questions, feel free to reach out directly to us. Okay, so now I would like to introduce our speaker for today's presentation. Mark Dyson is Vice President of Veolia Water Technologies, overseeing its global mobile water services fleet. He has more than 25 years experience in the mobile water treatment sector. During his career, Mark has lived and worked within the UK, Germany, USA, and Kenya, where he has managed the development of the water business for a number of major water treatment organizations. Mark holds a Bachelor's of Science in Engineering and Management from Brunel University and an MBA from the Open University. And with that, I would like to now turn it over to Mark to talk a little bit about business continuity with mobile water solutions. Mark, are you with us?
Good. Thank you very much, Jill, for that introduction. And I'd like to say welcome to everyone and thank you for your time to participate in this webinar. Basically, what we'd like to do today is to share what our capabilities are around supporting your business for business continuity with our reliable mobile water services that we now offer on a global basis. The presentation is divided into about 4 sections. It should last about 30 to 40 minutes, so hopefully it won't be too long for everyone. But breaking it down, what we're trying to do is, first of all, we can explore what the risk is to your business, and then how Veolia Mobile Water Services can give you peace of mind, backup and support. We'll then look at some actual applications and case studies, and then just give a brief summary at the end of the presentation, a few slides just on our overall service general presentation. So hopefully at the end of this presentation, we're able to share this knowledge and awareness with you. And should you have any issues, we can be your go-to partner in the event that you need us. So what is the potential risk for you as a manufacturing organization or a production organization? The risk is production disruption. And any organization that experiences disruption of their water treatment system, this can lead to a threat for your business continuity, for what you're making. And so what you really need to do is you need to have a company that can work with you, that can give you a reliable and secure source of treated water should you have a problem. And some of you on this call may already have experienced a need in the past, maybe found a solution, and some of you maybe never will experience a problem. But really what this is about, it's about being prepared. What if something happens, and what would that risk be to your organization? So when you look at business continuity, all manufacturing sites are at risk for disruption to that. So business continuity is really about ensuring your products continue to reach and be delivered to customers regardless of any internal problems and issues. So it's a what-if scenario. And I'm sure many of you in utilities and in manufacturing, you look at the critical value of adding activities and processes to your current setup in your organization and how you focus on them and keep them operational. And if you do have an issue, how you can get those assets back to full operational capacity in a sensible time frame to make sure that you don't have any disruption. For a lot of companies, sometimes it can mean if you have a disruption, the cost can be $1 or $2 million per day, depending on your products and what you're actually building. So a business continuity plan actually helps companies protect themselves. You can reduce the likelihood of an occurrence because you've always got a backup plan, you're prepared, you're responsive, and should an incident happen, it gives you the tools to be able to recover from that incident should it occur in the most efficient and timely way. So here are the basic potential risks and the consequences. And if you haven't experienced any of these, sometimes it's worth considering them because we work with a lot of customers that unfortunately do experience these from time to time. So there is obviously the cost, the financial cost of loss of production. There's the inconvenience of what a total plant shutdown would mean. There's not only the shutdown of the plant, there's restarting up of the plant, etc. So an incident can be a sort of prolonged time period. It can have a negative impact on your supply chain. And one of the most important ones is your inability to meet your customer demands on your business. And that can lead to lack of or loss of reputation in the marketplace. And as we know, customers always have a choice, so they can decide whether, if you're a company that has disruptions, they might choose to go to a different supplier. So as mobile water services, we can't eliminate risk, but what we can try to do is to give you more peace of mind that should an event happen, especially associated with water treatment plants, we can work with you to minimize any downtime you may have and maximize the uptime should the worst happen. And if you look, treated water, we all treat it as a utility, but it's valuable because it's used in products, in hot water, in steam. And so it is actually part of your overall offering that you're delivering and what you're selling to the marketplace. So disruptions to your water plant can be for a number of reasons, and these are the sort of most common ones. Over the years, I've seen some very unique ones. So failure or breakdown of a water treatment plant, that can be electromechanical, either one. Boiler or condensate leaks. In today's environment, we witness more water scarcity and flooding and the impacts that can have on your feedwater. Feedwater changes occur. Sometimes your plant is not capable then of functioning with the new plant and it needs some help and support. Changes in your treated water. Again, a lot of companies now, they batch make product. They batch make it to different demands and qualities. So it's always important to be able to produce different types of water. There'll be instances where you're doing preventative maintenance or refurbishment on your plants. So this is typically when the treated water plant has to keep producing. Many years ago, there used to be shutdowns, but now most facilities work 365 days a year. So that has to be, that maintenance or refurbishment work has to be done while the plant's hot. And then there could be numerous unforeseen events. As I mentioned before, in my 25 years in this business, I've seen some quite exceptional things that you could never even sort of think about in advance, but things do happen, of course. So that's the first introduction section. So now we move on to the second section here. And it's really what we can do for you and how we can help you. A lot of our current customers, they say that sometimes having a company like Veolia Mobile Water Services gives them peace of mind. They can sleep at night knowing that they've got a contingency plan, knowing that they can reach out to a mobile water services provider, and it can be responsive and can be on site with them very quickly to help bridge any difficulties they may experience. So, as I just mentioned, mobile services gives you a temporary water plant. It gives you that sort of 24-hour peace of mind that should that what if happen, you have a disruption, you have an emergency, or you have something that's planned. What we can send to you is a mobile plant that will actually then bridge the time period while whatever's happened on site. We can produce for you that treated water to keep you constantly in production while the problem's fixed and solved. And the key thing to a lot of providers of mobiles is that we understand you operate 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So it's important that, working with a service business like Veolia Mobile Water Services, we're able to support you whenever you need that help. So what mobiles can be available to you for short, medium, or longer term. So basically what this is, it's a temporary water treatment system that's deployed. It can be for the full replacement of your existing plant, or it can be for part of that plant. You don't have to do everything with it. And as I mentioned before, it's typically for refurbishment, maintenance type work. This can be an interim need, and it's not only just an emergency service. So when you look at the overall service and what it brings you, if you were to suffer downtime or any disruption, it's a cost-effective solution that bridges this period of time where you have an issue. And the other thing we offer as well, as plants get more older and older, we can offer a multi-year service where, again, we can deploy assets on your site for longer periods of time, which helps extend the current plant life. It can reduce the maintenance and the refurbishment costs of the existing plant. We can do some trials. We can provide it when there's changes in the feedwater and/or changes in demand. Or sometimes the good news is for a lot of manufacturing sites is they have plant expansions, and you want to get into production quickly. And while you might be procuring a fixed plant, we can support you during that interim period, supplying a temporary system. All the services we provide, they're all plug and play, and they're available anytime, anywhere. Typically, we work from days, weeks, months, or years. We're very driven on in terms of what our customers want and how long they want this service for. So I'll just show you this quick cartoon. It gives me a break to some extent, and this is typically how it works on an emergency basis. So you've got your feed water going to your treated water, it's being processed, it goes to your water treatment tank, which then goes to your facility, and then the worst happens, you experience a breakdown with your plant. So we mobilize, we send the equipment to you, we connect to the feed water, we treat it, and then we start replenishing your treated water tank, which again enables you to stay in production. So it's a very simple cartoon schematic, but it clearly shows very simply what we're able to do. So the key advantages, what are the key advantages around a mobile water treatment system? The key things are it's responsive. A lot of the equipment, all of the equipment we have, it's all pre-engineered. It's available around the clock, as I mentioned before, and it's available anywhere, anytime. So no matter where you are, what Veolia is embarking on now is we're pushing this service out now on a more global basis. So we're able to reach our customers around the world and give them consistency of service anywhere. It's got to be mobile to get to you very quickly. So everything's trailer mounted, skid mounted. It's all pre-engineered, plug and play. So when the trailer actually arrives on site or the skid, it's very easy, very quick to connect. It's very agile, because if you've called a mobile provider, the key thing for you is the setup time has to be very quick because you've got a problem, so you don't want to be waiting around. It's very flexible. all the equipment's designed as modular systems, standard systems, so they can be standalone products or they can be working as an integrated solution. They all fix together. The best definition of them, they're a bit like Lego. They all fit together. So they're all designed for a variety of feed waters. And the key thing is that it can replace your total system, or it can only do part of your system. It's whatever you need or whatever the problem has been. And the reliability, we have a wide range of technologies, so we're able to cope with a whole variety of challenging different feedstocks, and the number of assets we have as well enables us to use these building blocks either in series or in parallel, to make a complete system if we have to. The key thing for us as a mobile provider is that we're guaranteeing you the performance of the system, which basically is treated water, which meets the quality and quantity you need to keep your facility in full operation. So I mentioned before, worldwide coverage. I know this webinar is going out in North America, but this gives you a feel of where we've got some of our facilities and depots globally, as I mentioned before. The key thing as well is, if you're part of a multinational organization, we can be helping and supporting different facilities as part of our global network. So if your company's had a mobilization previously in Europe or something like that, there's obviously the return on experience of that. You can network for your own organization, and our goal is to be able to replicate that and produce the same level of service wherever you are in the world. So we're building this network of depots, of service centers, so we can respond very quickly to our customers' needs, but also provide it with the sort of local look and feel, language, culture, and meet obviously all the different regulations within the different regions and countries globally. So our service, we're very proud to say that, we've been able to deliver this service. We pride ourselves in service excellence. So meeting customers' needs is not just about necessarily the water, it's about having the right health and safety, having the right quality programs in place. We actually build our assets so they conform to local regulations as well as international standards. All of our assets as well are supported by our digital platform now. So we can be measuring off-site critical parameters like qualities, flow rates, alarms. So there doesn't necessarily have to be an operator on site, which is both costly and has other issues associated with it. And through our reuse and recycling program for our resins, and our assets, we're actually sharing our equipment to various customers, so that saves environmentally on building your own equipment, which you might only use once or twice. You can actually maximize by being part of a community, sharing some assets that are available to everyone. So Veolia is committed to continually support and invest in this business, which again is very interesting. So it's constantly investing in new technologies, new assets to ensure that we can meet the new and upcoming challenges within the marketplace. If you look at some of the technologies here, some of you may or may not be water treatment experts, but I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of technologies. So we offer both treatment systems for waste, spent water or used water, and also freshwater makeup that can be used for processed water. So as you can see from these cartoons, some of these are wheel-based assets, some of them are skids, some of them are in containers. But what we're offering is a capability to treat water anywhere from 10 to 1,000 cubic meters per hour, which is quite a sizable plant. I think that's somewhere around about the 5,000–6,000 GPM. And I mentioned earlier that the diverse range of technologies, everything from ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis, clarification, filtration. So again, this fits very much into what I said earlier. You can either take a complete system from us, or you can take part service. All of these solutions, when we send our assets, come to you, they're all complete. So we provide all the consumables, all the spare parts, all the chemicals. So the unit is completely ready to go from the depot. It's field maintained while it's on your site, and then when it's returned to us, it's made ready for then the next customer. And not only do we supply the assets, the technologies, but we also supply all the ancillaries, the pumps, the tanks, the hoses, because as you can imagine, if you order some equipment and it gets to site and you're short of about 2 or 3 feet of hose, you can't operate this equipment. So it's important for us to provide you a full service. So that's about what we do and the service. And I think it's always good here to be able to talk about some applications and some case studies. So we're moving now ahead into sort of section 3. I think I'm roughly on track. So, but just before we move into section 3 and look at some of the case studies, here's some examples again of what you may experience that you may need to have a mobile water system available to you. So plant failures, severe weather conditions, floods, water scarcity, changes in your feedwater supply, when you're carrying out maintenance or refurbishment. We can manage condensate applications, boiler flushes and fills when they're maintained. You might have tube or condenser leaks in your boiler demanding extra amounts of makeup water, so we can help you with that. Production expansions and commission, a variety of commission activities. So these are the things that you'd know more than us about. These are the things that you experience from time to time, but we're the ones who can come and help you and supply you with the additional treated water. So looking at some examples here, these are quite simple. This one is the technology is filtration followed by reverse osmosis. This was an emergency situation. The customer wanted to had some problems with their installed plant. They had to replace their reverse osmosis membranes because it was obviously not producing the right quantity and quality of water that they needed. This facility was undergoing some severe weather at the time, which never helps. You know, a winter storm, so it just makes it logistically difficult to do things. But we actually mobilized here this equipment. We were able to make 100 cubic meters per hour, 440 GPM of less than 10 microsiemens, and that enabled this customer then to continue with their work, continue with their maintenance, maintain their production. So it was a very good temporary system for them. So that is very typical of let's say of an emergency type condition. This one here is a petrochemical company. It's a regular company that we do business with. It's in the oil and gas industry, petrochemical, as I say. This customer experiences some problems, some boiler tube leaks from time to time, and it's also its makeup, its demin plant is sort of very old and pretty fragile. So they call us on a pay-as-you-go type basis for these mobile ion exchange trailers. So typically these trailers have cation, anion, and mixed bed resin in them. So you can take, you know, most sort of city water, river water, water from a variety of sources, and process it through these trailers and make demin water. So this customer likes this very much. They simply just pick up the phone, send one of these to site, produce water. Then when it's finished, it's not regenerated on the customer site. It's actually regenerated in our facility. So there's no issues with the handling of chemicals, and we're recycling the ion exchange resins all the time. This customer again had a need here for some maintenance. So they needed to have a temporary system installed on their site. So we provided some filtration with reverse osmosis and some ion exchange polishing. Now, one of the unique things about our reverse osmosis systems is we can run them in single pass, or we can run them in what we call double pass for optimum salt removal, and thereby increasing the economics of the temporary solution, because the ion exchange column will actually last longer than if you run it in single pass. So this customer asked us to come in very simply for a 2-week period, 150 GPM. It was very simply, again, something that would ensure them continuity while they did some maintenance on their equipment, and they knew that the quality of the water and the quantity was going to meet their needs. One of the other benefits for this particular customer, the maintenance timing was a little bit uncertain. So again, the commitment from us is that even though I said we went on the site here for 2 weeks, we can go on there for 2 weeks, 1 day, 2 days, 3 weeks. So we're there basically for the duration that the customer needs us, so they can make sure that they get everything taken care of in the best possible way. This was a provision of again, a temporary system while a customer was doing routine maintenance on a tank within their facility. So they had to basically shut down their normal production into that tank and bypass it while they did all the, you could imagine all the fixing the leaks and linings and getting that tank back to normal operation. The interesting thing about this one, so we did it with filtration, then we did it with purely ion exchange technology. We used our 10 million grain capacity trailer for this application. So the advantage that gave the customer there was that this is a very high capacity trailer, and the changing of the frequency of the exhaustion of the trailer is much longer. And so therefore, again, it's a more economic solution, because you don't have to replace that trailer once it's exhausted as frequently as some of the other trailers on the marketplace, which have a lower capacity. So this was taking water direct from a river. So again, that's quite good. It wasn't a heavy process train, treated about 380 micromoles, making less than 10. So again, it was a very simple type system to meet this customer's treated water needs. And the other thing we did on this particular site, we actually sent our operations team to start this system up, start it up, commission it. And as part of their role, they actually train the customer. So on a day-to-day basis, the customer looked after this equipment on site. We'd be there for support if they needed us, but it was a very simple system for the customer to operate. It didn't really need us there, and it met all the needs. This is a commissioning opportunity. This was an engineering company commissioning a new power station, some high pressure boilers. So typically when these plants are commissioned, the fixed plant is too small to supply the full demand of what a commissioning company needs for flushing, for steam blows, for cleaning the condensate and for getting everything up to normal operation. So the flow rate was variable. It was 520 to 700 GPM. And the other thing that was difficult, it was a lake feed source, and this was in the middle of summer. So there was bacteria, solids, iron, and everything there floated around in this feed water. So again, with the variable flow rate as well, it was a challenging process, but something we were able to manage for them quite well. So we provided a system here for filtration, just basic multimedia filtration for solids removal. We then provided reverse osmosis to reduce the salt in the water. And then we fed it to an ion exchange trailer. So again, we can make water of boiler feed type quality for this customer. We were there on site for about 6 or 8 weeks. So again, it was very flexible because you could imagine, unfortunately, when a lot of projects are constructed, timelines are sometimes not always exact and problems happen. So this gave the customer, again, a lot of security around the fact that we'd be there for the duration of the mobilization. This is a multi-year opportunity. We classify the multi-year by anything over 12 months. So this was a company in Canada that was basically a gold mine. So they had an environmental compliance challenge because they were procuring a permanent plant, but they wanted to increase their production, and they had a limitation on what they could do. So we supplied them with this mobile ActiFlow, which is a clarification plant for the reduction of the suspended solids. And they actually kept the plant for 2.5 years, making about 1100 GPM, which was removing both the solids and metals and any toxicity in the water. So this is an example, it's a great environmental case study, but also it allowed this facility to meet their environmental compliance and basically get up into production while their permanent plant was being procured. This, I believe, is the last one of the applications. This is a chemical company where they were looking to expand their production. They had demand from their customer quite quickly. It was in the automotive industry that they wanted to basically procure more product from them. So their existing water plant was limited to produce the extra treated water. So we actually send them again a reverse osmosis system and a mobile ion exchange system, again simply to make that extra demand. So it was about 110 GPM. This customer is now, for us, he's about 6 years old. We originally entered into a 3-year agreement. It was then extended, and they've been very happy with the performance. So they've decided not to buy, and this has become more like a permanent plant on site, still under our sort of service relationship. And they renew it every few years, based on their needs. So this gives them a real option, because if their production needs decline in a couple of years' time, then they haven't invested in a permanent plant to solve their problems, which would then be written off, or it wouldn't be a very good investment because they wouldn't get their return on it the same way they're getting that return on this mobile plant. So that's really the end of the section on the applications and the case studies. This is the final section. I've just got a few slides now, 3 or 4, you'll be pleased to hear. And I just wanted to talk a little bit here about mobile water services. So mobile water services, it is what it is. It says what it does on the tin. We provide mobile water services under 3 types of service. We do emergency service, planned, or we do multi-year. So typically emergency is, if a customer calls us and we send equipment within 24 hours. Planned is typically where it's a pre-thought out order, can be anything from 1 day to a year, and then multi-year comes into more than 12 months rental. So looking at the emergency, again, we've talked a little bit about this. It's for those unforeseen events to minimize your production losses, your downtime, maintain your continuity. It's all based on rapid deployment, plug and play assets. As you see, we have a wide range of technologies, and hopefully if you've got a rickety demon plant somewhere, knowing that this is available to help you may give you peace of mind and let you sleep at night. Planned, as I mentioned before, this is a pre-agreement we have with our customers. So typically You might look, I've got an application, I've got a refurb in 3 months' time. Can I speak to you? This is what I need. So it's a pre-planned type of service using the same assets as the emergency or the multi-year, so they're very flexible. And a lot of our customers in the engineering world certainly use us for commissioning, maintenance, decommission activities. So it's for whatever you need, water scarcity or just things that you might be planning on your site where treated water may be the bottleneck. This gives you the facility to bridge that time period. And then multi-year. Multi-year is a service that we've introduced over the last 10 years, where customers have said to us, you know, we'd like to rent from you for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, typically up to 7 years. We rent, although we can extend beyond that. And it's where we have a semi-permanent presence on the customer site, and we're providing them the treated water to their quality and quantity demands. It's a fully bundled service. So again, all the maintenance, the spare parts, chemicals, logistics, everything's included. So as a customer, what you see from us is a fixed price per month for this service, so you can control your budgets. You know, there are no sort of extras within this service. So again, it's a very flexible one, especially again, if if someone comes to you and says, you know, I want to make this new product for the next 3 years, but there's uncertainty after that period, you know, why go and invest? Why not rent for that period? So this service really gives you the choice. Would you want to buy something, or would you want the choice of potentially renting from a service provider like Veolia Mobile Water Services? So just as the last summary slide, just as a bit of a reminder, so we are your trusted partner. We do a lot of work with our customers. The more we can work with them, the more we understand their needs, the more we try and tailor-make our service for them, whether that's removing equipment or adding equipment, whatever's required. So these are some of the key takeaways, really. It can be a tailored service. It can be a variety of sizes, contract periods, technologies. We always pride ourselves on on-time delivery and responsiveness to our customers. Again, it's very important you get what you're paying for when you want it. There's the process guarantee, quality and quantity, everything from 50 to 5,000 GPM. And you know, one of the key things a lot of people don't mention, we're very proud of our health and safety records. You know, we train our engineers and technicians both to the local country standards, to international standards, and then we also adapt and modify that to the health and safety procedures and requirements based on a customer level as well. So we're dealing with a lot of heavy equipment and electrical things, so there's chemicals, so it's very important for all of our engineers are fully trained. We can deal with multiple processes, and this is very much a pay-as-you-go service. So we're there for you as long as you need us, and we're available for you to call us on a 24/7 basis. And even if you finish with us and we go away, we'll always welcome a call to come back, because again, like I say, we're there to help and support your business, so you've got treated water in a reliable way, and it gives you the security to do what you do. You make components, products, you're manufacturing different things, maybe generating power. That's really where the expertise of your businesses are, and our expertise here is in providing a mobile water service solution. So that's my last slide. So I'm going to pass it back to Jill. I'm here to answer any questions, of course, and if you don't ask questions on this call, and you'd like to follow it up with us, we're obviously available to answer any of your questions as well outside this event. Come and see you and support you in the best possible way we can.
Great. Thank you very much, Mark, for that very informative presentation there. We've got a couple minutes left here, so I do have some questions that came in, and we will try to get through what we can with our allotted time. And if we do not get to your question, I apologize for that, but we will follow up individually and directly with you afterwards as well. So with that, I will kick off the Q&A session here. Mark, talking a little bit about when a mobile system is actually sent out to a plant. This question's asking a little bit about who operates that system. Is it the end user, or would that be Veolia, or a mix?
Thanks, Jill, and thanks for the question. It's very normally a hybrid, because we adopt the model that it can be hands-off for our customers, but then our equipment has quite a lot of automation around it as well, so it doesn't necessarily need that day-to-day hand-holding, so to speak. So whenever we send anything out to you anyway, we always send an engineer. They go there, they start it up, they commission it, they install it, and they're there as well to educate the customers on, when that engineer leaves site, what readings should be taken, if there's any simple consumables that should be changed, or just things added or monitored on a day-to-day basis. And that technician also then returns to site on a periodic basis, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, just to come and see again if everything's operating right, if it's performing right, and we're maintaining a commitment of quality and quantity of treated water. And as I mentioned before as well, that model is also now simplified to some extent, because a lot of these assets now are connected to the cloud. So we're actually able to track remotely, the various key parameters, alarms, conditions, qualities. So if there is an issue on site that we'd like to be able to be ahead of our customers, and you might see a technician say, hey, what's he doing there? And he's actually come to help support the system before you even see a disruption.
Great. Thanks for that, Mark. Another question here, let me see if I can summarize it a little bit, but in order to, or when looking at maybe creating a contingency plan for the water supply, and or looking at, I guess, a contingency plan for emergencies, what should I be collecting, or what data should I be collecting in order to prepare that plan?
Good question. Generally, the information you need for a temporary plant is very much the same as what you need for a permanent plant. We're very willing to send somebody to site, speak to you over the phone. We've got some standard information collection forms that we can share with you and help you navigate through that process. But basically, we're looking to understand, what's the type of feed water you're feeding us with, and what is your treated water quality and quantity demands. We would need to look very simply at the logistics on your site. If we sent a plant there, where we would park it and how we would connect it to your electrical supply and your hydraulic hoses. How many feet of hose would you need to connect from A to B, etc. So it is a very simple audit, but to make sure that we can get something there to you that's going to operate reliably, there are some sort of must-have informations, because at the end of the day, this is a chemical, mechanical, live piece of equipment operating on your site. And so we just need to make sure we do collect that information. But the easiest way is to contact one of our experts. They can talk you through that in detail, send you some information collection forms, and make sure that should you call us at out of business hours, let's say, we can mobilize and we can send something to you as quickly as possible.
Great, thanks for that. We're a little bit over time, but I think we've got time for maybe one more question here, and then we'll wrap up. Looking at this, let's see what we've got. Are you able to offer a global framework agreement for a multinational company?
Yes, yes, and that's a very important thing. And a lot of our multinational customers do ask for that, or we do talk to them about that, because it's the usual things when you do business is defining every site's different, every site might need different assets, but it's having that consistency of supply and how to work with those customers and how to understand those customers' needs in different places. And the other thing we can do as well, you have to discuss and talk about terms and conditions and invoicing and just how you're going to work together. So having some of those agreements in place as a framework that you can then roll out to different places simplifies it for the satellite location, and they can just focus on what they need, which is really treated water, and you can have all the bureaucratic work done beforehand. So if you have a need, it doesn't clutter the process of getting you the service that you require when you need it.
Great, thank you very much for that, Mark. And with that, I do apologize if we did not get to your question, but in the essence of time here and trying to be respectful of everybody's time, that will conclude our webinar today. We do thank you very much for your attendance, and we hope that you found this very valuable. We do kindly ask also at the conclusion, as soon as this webinar ends, if you would be so kind as to take the survey. That would be greatly appreciated. And for those of you that do, you will be entered into that chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. And then also, if you did enjoy our webinar today, feel free to check out any upcoming webinars and our on-demand webinars, again, over at that www.veoliawatertech.com. And with that, that will conclude our webinar for today. And we do appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Hopefully it helped.